Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Small Talk on the Mats. My next guest is one of the best, if not the best barber in the world. We met about 11 years ago when he first moved to Albuquerque. He's been my barber and my son's barber for about the same number of years, I think, yeah. He was born and raised in Southern California. He loves skateboarding. He's American as fuck, and he loves guns. He's happily married with kids. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we'll get to know him here shortly. I'm proud to present to you Kenny D.
What's up? What up?
So how's it going, bro?
It's going, dude.
Yeah. So before we started rolling, you said that you've never done a podcast before, right?
Nah, bro.
Okay.
No.
So this is going to be fun, man. This is going to be exciting.
The only recording has been in an interrogation room or something.
That's a good way to break the ice, bro. So one thing I forgot to mention before we started rolling is that I break my questions into categories, right? So everything's on point, on topic. I'm not jumping all over the place. So we'll start with your origins and your upbringing.
All right. So first question to break it off, man. What was it like growing up in a working class military family in Southern California? I mean, dude, it was great. You know, my old man was a Vietnam era SEAL. So first year Team Sky, UDT, Frogman, you know. So I was basically a retirement baby. My brother and sister, 20 and 18 years older than me. So they were born in the 60s. I was in the 80s, you know. But I mean, so my old man was, you know, in the electrical business and stuff like that. Ended up becoming like a general manager for Anaheim, Lincoln Mercury. So
yeah,
just cars all the time. My mom's from the North Valley, like LA area, Hollywood, all that. So it was just cool, man. Structured, that's for sure. My old man, you know, he knew he could hurt me, so it was like get in trouble, which I did all the time. It was like get in the half push-up position for an hour, go stand on those bottles outside for an hour, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, Southern California is, you know, it is weird, dude, because like anybody from SoCal, especially San Diego, places like where I'm from, are like so proud to tell you that they're from California.
Yeah.
The way California is now is such an embarrassment to even want to represent it, you know, and I got Khalifas blasted on my forehead. But, you know, in that era, dude, it was just surfing, skateboarding was like our culture out there, you know, punk rock music and just mayhem and chaos, you know, so.
Yeah.
But it's a different world, dude. It's so much politics, like racial politics and just the street crap that I was involved in, you know.
Yeah.
It made me who I am today, which some may like, some may not. There's really no in between, you know. But yeah, you know, I got a lot of value out there. I started in the construction industry, like I was still in high school, you know what I mean? So union bound, everyone out there, everybody wanted to be a union guy, you know, pro-America. And
yeah.
So that got me involved in that. And, you know, then barbering came along and just blue collar, just 100%, you know.
Okay.
So
for sure, bro. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, you're right. It has changed over the years, bro. And I never lived over there. I've went twice for Army stuff, and then I visited once to take my kids to Universal Studios.
Yeah.
So I've never really been involved in like city stuff, but from news and TV and stuff, I've seen that it's definitely changed.
I mean, I was there for like the Greg Davis era and Arnold Schwarzenegger as governors, you know, so like it was a different California, bro. They took care of us, you know, and you could still get around and live pretty good. But I mean, dude, my first apartment when I was 18 was in Temecula, California, and I think it was like $2,200. We're talking, I'm 42 now, so substantial time ago. And I mean, that same apartment is probably about $4,000 now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, how do you even live out there, especially when the wages are crap? I mean, journeyman wages aren't even nothing no more. I remember doing the San Marcos School District. We did all the ADA ramps. Dude, went to Wisconsin, got certified at RDEX.
Yeah.
It was prevailing wage, and it was like $87 an hour to do a government job. Same prevailing wage jobs now are like $40.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm like not too far off from making that normally, so it's not worth it.
That's crazy, bro. That's changed in all aspects, man. So the next question is, how did being raised around discipline and structure shape who you are today?
You know, that's hard, man, because I was uncontrollable. Like, I didn't grow up in like no hoods or nothing. Well, I take it back. So I was born in LA, moved to Fullerton, like 5 minutes from Angel Stadium, in Orange County.
Yeah.
And then we took off to Las Vegas, Nevada in like the late 80s. So I lived in a place called Pittman. It was off of Barrett Street and Boulder Highway. And back in the 80s and 90s, there was a big gang in California and Nevada called 28th Street. It was a trip, bro, because it wasn't like a culture-based gang. You had black dudes, white dudes, Chicanos. They were all in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So my influences, and this is also the birth of like gangster rap, I thought Warren G was like the coolest dude ever. And I was like, oh, I want to be that dude, looking at how pasty my Irish skin is. And so, it's like, I had the influences from the homies' older brothers and stuff. You know what I mean? And it's a trip, where we're from, our culture, especially when I went to Temecula. I went to Temecula when I was 12.
Yeah.
And it was a different world. I come from literally, we left because our house got shot 3 times in 1 month. You know what I mean? Yeah, like just... It wasn't a targeted hit. It was just drive-bys like crazy on that street.
Right.
You know what I mean? We had the houses by the park that no kids were allowed to go to. And this is back in the era when, be home when the lights come on. Mm-hmm. So summertime in Nevada, bro, you were out till 9 o'clock at night. And you left the house at 7 in the morning. You drank out of the hoses from people's houses. And you just, next thing you know, you're 8 years old, 15 miles from home, doing stupid stuff. So... when I left, I went to Temecula. My dad, my parents weren't really together. They were, but they weren't. They were never married. Mm-hmm. So we all went to Temecula, which is like, dude, top 20 safest places in America to raise a family. Like, if two people like me were walking around, dude, you'd have Riverside County Sheriff's Department there within minutes wanting to know the who, what, when, where's, and whys, So moving there actually was worse. Than like inner city, because now I'm living in a place where like my childhood home went up for sale recently for like $1.6 million.
Damn.
We bought that in the early 90s, cash up. So my dad got an inheritance for like 250 grand.
Yeah.
So, property costs skyrocketed out there, but like where we lived at, man, we were like 1-2 miles from San Diego County line. So it was still the IE, it was still the Inland Empire, Riverside County. Yeah. But we were right there in the cusp of where Fallbrook and the Escondido Mountains I could see from my front porch. So it was more San Diego than it was, Inland Empire. But you have upper class white Christians. What do you get with that? You get a lot of white supremacy, a lot of that element, and people trip. Like, even I'm sure you did when you first met me, a white guy that looks like a complete cholo but listens to suicidal tendencies religiously, So it was a trip, man, but getting back to the discipline, things like that, man, is, once we hit Temecula, I think I got arrested, like, just a matter of weeks afterwards. Because what happens, we moved there in the middle of the school year.
Yeah.
California is real bougie, man. It doesn't matter where you live. There's cliques already established when you go to school. So the last group of people you get to hang out with, if no one knows who you are, is, the dudes that nobody wants to hang out with.
Yeah.
So I remember that's when I met some of the homies that were, they're already drinking and stuff like that. So, I was trying to still be a good kid, but at that point I had seen too much, done too much.
Yeah.
I'll say certain things because I don't want people knowing me for what I used to be. Who I am now is not the same person. But at 10 years old, I was put in, talked to with people that were guilty of murders. You know what I mean? Just so now I'm going to this rich society, and it's like, nah, man, I've freaking knocked people's teeth out already in elementary school, and now I'm going around these kids who they glorify, and they're more dangerous because they watch all these gang movies. And they're living in the suburbs, and they want so hard and so bad to be that person. And it's like, I just came from that. I don't want to be that person, but I already am. Yeah. So around that time, man, I started running wild, and then drugs came in real early. Alcohol came in real early. So my old man, he was always there for me. All the times I kept going to jail and just, I would steal from him, just to go get what I needed to get. And it's funny because I remember, like, I think I was 25. I called him out of nowhere. I was like, I get it now. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
We all think our parents are stupid.
Yeah, man.
As far as my mom goes, she's a a POS, bro. I got nothing good to say about her. I'm not even gonna give her a platform to even bring attention to her. She just wasn't a good person.
Okay.
And pretty much every addiction of my life was given to me by her.
Okay.
So
yeah,
discipline was good to a certain point, but I was from an old school family, so you know, my mom's Russian and Italian, and her family's from those areas. You know, my grandpa was born and raised in Italy.
Yeah.
My grandmother's family's all from St. Petersburg, Russia. So, dude, you got beat, man. There was no, like, little discipline. You got hit with whatever they could find and grab and talk to in a different language while they were doing it.
Yeah.
You know, my dad came from an Irish working class family, coal miners and stuff like that. Everybody had been in a war of some kind. So the structure came from him, you know, and the molding of me came from him. And I think I stayed out of ever going to prison because there was that discipline with the military from him, you know, and he was proud of it. I mean, I have some of his Vietnam tattoos tattooed on me, like the dodo bird on the back of my head. I got the USN crest and a few things. But yeah, unfortunately, dude, I was not a model human being for 22 years, man.
Yeah, man. We all gotta go through some shit to learn, bro. But hey, man, you've benefited out of it. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Were there any early moments where you knew you didn't want a typical quote unquote path in life?
Well, so I wanted to be a barber since I was 6. So my grandpa Orly Santini, man, a little tiny Italian dude. He would take me every weekend. It was like mandatory. And this was in Morro Bay, California. I had to go to the barber shop, man, get a haircut. And the barber was from Italy. Of course, Italians are going to stick with Italians, you know. And so this guy, Tony, man, he was just cool. Like, I took stuff that he did and I put it in my own career. I even did it with your son. I'd turn him around, make him look at the mirror, tell him to look for the monkey.
Yeah.
And it would make you stand up tall, look over the barber's shoulder, and you wouldn't move because you're trying to find where the hell this monkey is. So I just remember the respect the dude got. You know what I mean? Like, everybody wanted to help him. Everybody wanted to be around him. And, you know, God rest his soul, he passed away several years ago, but my grandma stayed friends with his sister.
Okay.
And at the funerals was like, hey, you know, Kenny used everything Tony did to him as a kid in his own career.
Yeah.
So, you know, I knew I always wanted to cut hair real young. And then, God, about 15, 16 years old, again, I had a military father. So, you know, he wasn't in the military at any point in my life. It's just he was a Vietnam guy. And he was in the old school era. My family lied. So he beat someone up like real bad. My dad was like a stud, man. You know, my mom used to pick fights with Hell's Angels just so my dad would kick their ass, you know. Big old 6'2", blonde hair, blue-eyed surfer from Orange County that just could drop bodies, man. And you know, so he was real strict, you know. It's like I couldn't have crazy haircuts. Dude, I remember, like, when new metal came out, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, I thought Orgy was so cool, bro. That Blue Monday song came out. Like, I had already been listening to Deftones for years. That's what turned me on to heavy music. And then got into core and stuff like that in that era. And then Orgy came out. Bro, I came walking downstairs one day with freaking man liner on. Yeah. Painting my fingernails, you know. And I'm not going to say the term, but, you know, we said terms in the 90s about a specific group of people, you know. He's like, man, you take your blah, blah, blah back upstairs and change. Yeah. So, anyways, I wanted a mohawk, dude. I found a buddy of mine, Brian Dodson. He was a punk rock, and he was a skinhead on top of that. So I was going through, like, bonehead life at that time, like hanging out with a lot of like dudes from the woods, the Nazi lowriders and stuff, you know, and just living a little faster than I should. And then so for your viewers that don't know, boneheads, Hell Hitler, a skinhead is like skinheads against racial prejudice. They're like the original punks from England, shaved heads, you know, bloused, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So this dude introduced me into like, you know, skinhead music from the UK and got me into like Subhumans and like this crazy punk rock music. So
yeah,
dude, I wanted a mohawk so bad. And my parents wanted to take me to go do it. Yeah. Again, I had a conservative father, you know, a middle-aged Republican.
Yeah.
So I grabbed those clippers and I cut my own mohawk and dude, it was so horrible. It went like in a half circle down my head because I'm like looking in the mirror going like that. And that was it, dude. It was like the minute those cranked on my hands, they were some cheap ass like Conairs. You know what I mean? It's like $10 CVS special. But that was it. And then I started cutting all the homies' hair. And then I started hanging out with real punks. We called them pro partiers. Had a crew in Vegas called the East Side Boys. Yeah. So these dudes have been punks since the 80s. And part of being down with those dudes is you gotta go beat the crap out of somebody at a show that had a mohawk. Because there's nothing punk rock about spending 40 minutes doing your hair. You're doing it for fashion at that point. Yeah. So we would do what's called shave parties. We'd shave each other's heads and kind of like rebranding yourself, like kind of screw society, you know? Right. So I do the next thing you know, I'm like cutting homies' hair in the garage, you know, making an income in high school, doing tapers. And I think when you met me, I was coming out of like the whole greaser phase I was in for so many years. And you know, a lot of the homies, like, we're all into like Pachuco life and all that stuff. And so yeah, dude, I just started learning pompadours, and I really was obsessed with like the gentleman style of grooming, you know. And that's so as soon as I could, I went to barber school, and I just flourished, you know, because I had opportunities. Obviously, I like tattoos, and I lived with tattooers in high school, you know, guys that kind of took me under their wing and stuff like that. So I had opportunities at Skin Factory Tattoos in Las Vegas, Nevada to go do an apprenticeship when I was like 16 years old. But I got scoliosis. Anyone that's seen how I'm sitting right now knows I ain't sitting with the greatest posture. I didn't want to be slouched every day. And I really wanted a barber, man. I thought it was the next best thing. So and then Donnie Hawley, man, the owner of the world famous Hollywood's Barber Shop and Layrite Pomade. If you remember, I was a huge freaking Layrite distributor at a couple of my shops. He brought the tattooed barbers to the forefront. You know, he fought hard. He's in the Hall of Fame, man. Never sat down with a conversation with the dude, but him and Shane Nesbitt, who's another freaking insanely great barber that's covered in tattoos in California. In my opinion, these were the dudes that made it possible for guys like me, even though we're all around the same age, to like really kind of have a platform, you know. So that's just kind of what I knew, man. I was gonna be what it was gonna be. And you know, at the same time though, like blue collar to me was like the best thing I ever wanted. Whether it was using my hands no matter what. You know, I've never walked away from the construction industry. I'm still in it, but at the same time, it's like, shoot, I made good money in the West Coast, but I blew up when I came out here just because the style that I brought to New Mexico and the different way of cutting hair. You know, so it was still having that blue collar ethic, that DIY ethic of literally just hustling, you know, just it's no different than slanging dope and slanging haircuts, man. It's putting it out there, let the community see what you got to offer. And never did it with social media. I did everything in my career by sending a good haircut out the door and a, you know, a one-of-a-kind business card to go with it, you know.
That's awesome, man. That's even better, like not having any social media presence, man, and then still getting business, taking care of business, man. That's the way to go, bro.
But it's also a crutch, man, because you could reach out to so many more people and such a broader audience. But to be honest, man, in my opinion, the barbering industry sucks now. I hate it. Like I have no need to be somebody in it as much anymore. You know, it's like the society is all based on trends, man. There's absolutely no individualism in anybody anymore that's under the age of 30 years old. I don't want to sit there all day long having to stop every 5 minutes on a haircut because some idiot wants to sit there with his phone taking videos of himself. I don't want to do 15 eggers in a row. Like, you see me work, dude. I'll do 4 of the same haircuts different. I might go with like an Oster, you know, metal clip on one and just spend my time. I might go to an Andes Master. I might go to a Wall Senior. I might just do the whole fade clipper over comb, you know. I have to switch it up. But you can't switch it up when everybody's got a broccoli haircut with a taper and then these barbers are charging $60 for it.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts, dude.
Dude, if you remember, I stayed open during COVID. And I got probably 150 people new in that 3-month stretch that we were on lockdown. And I could have, dude, inflated it. I could have been like $100 a haircut. You want a razor fade? All right, now it's $130. Oh, you want a faux hawk? It's $150. Where else are you gonna go? Dude, I kept it, and still to this day, I kept my haircuts at $25 to $35 range.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? $35 means we're putting a lot of work into it, or I'm cutting hair past the shoulders off. You know, my full service, I don't think I've ever surpassed it at $75. And, you know, that was the thing. Of course, you get all the phone calls once the lockdown was lifted. Well, hey, man, you know, my barber, he does my haircut for $15, but I like you better when you do it for $15. And I'm like, read between the lines, man. No, go back to your barber. Where was he the last 3 months?
Right, yeah. No, man, those are the type of customers you don't want to have, bro, because they're not respecting your business, bro, your work ethic.
It's weird, man. So in, you know, California, Nevada, you know, the whole West Coast that I worked in, you know, everything's laid out. You know, if you want this, it's extra. You want to line up? It's another $9. You want your eyebrows trimmed? It's another $5. You want a beard trim? Blah, blah, blah. So, right after I met you, I had to get my license turned out over here. That's how I met you and your wife and son. Mm-hmm. And then I went over to that. I'm not going to put nobody's names out there. But I went over to that one barber shop on the west side, and it was like home of the $10.
Yeah.
I ain't doing that because I was paying rent. I'm not a commission barber, never was. I'll pay you to have my chair. I'm charging what I want to charge. I'm working the hours I want to work, and I'm keeping 100% of anything I make. You get your rent. Don't tell me what to do. So I'd have to like break it down to people. I was like, look, dude, like this is New Mexico. You guys like your green chili, which no disrespect, it ain't that great. The rest of America would eat it if it was. But no, I'm like, all right, dude, you can't go get bacon and green chili on your cheeseburger for free. You got to pay extra. So, like, yeah, people just weren't understanding that. You know, everybody wants something for free.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's basically, like, I don't know, dude. I'm the kind of person I'd rather do $10, $100 full services a week or a day than do, you know, $110. So, it's just this quality over quantity.
For sure.
It's like the sign you've always seen is skilled labor isn't cheap and cheap labor isn't skilled, you know?
I was thinking about that sign today, too.
I'm actually thinking of where can I get that tattooed on me? I still got some room for it, you know.
Right. That's cool, man. No, that's a good way to put it into perspective, though, because a lot of people don't understand that stuff, especially like you said, younger generation. But we're gonna jump into skateboarding and youth culture, bro.
Yeah.
So, how did skateboarding become a lifetime passion for you?
Dude, culture, bro, culture. So I was born with crushy station tubes. So this is bad. I was born in '84, beginning of '84. And so around 2-3 years old, they thought I had like severe autism. So when your station tubes are collapsed, just think about when you got deployed, bro, and you were flying over there. The worst case scenario when your ears get clogged. Imagine it like that every single day, and it never stops, right? So you do that, and you bang your head against the wall. So we ended up having to go to LA to a specialist that was able to see, like, no, his eustachian tubes are collapsed. So I had to have those reconstructed, and then I had to get 6 sets of tubes in my ears. Had to get my adenoids taken out, my tonsils taken out, rotted all my teeth out. So I had to get caps on. Long story short, dude, I was really sick as a kid. So we were living at that time in Los Osos, California. So it's right over by it's on the Central Coast, man. Beautiful. It's actually where I want to go live, like in my old age, is Morro Bay. So you have San Luis Obispo, like UC Cal Poly over there. Then you got Los Osos, Morro Bay, and then further up the coast you got Monterey, San Jose, all that stuff. So we were living in this little like Section 8 apartment complex. It was like just me and my mom, and there was this dude Alex there. I'll never forget him. And this is like 3-4 years old, you know. But he was a surfboarder, you know, and this is a huge culture. My dad was a pro surfer for Hobie back in like the 50s, 60s, you know. Okay. Like I said, going back to his story, he was a surfer, got in a fight. You know, and my grandpa lied and said he was born in 42 instead of 43 so he could go to the military at 16 years old when they thought he was 17 at that time, you know. So it's just always been something I've seen. And then I used to watch this dude all the time. He had an old GNS board. Okay. That's that picture you seen that I have framed up. I was like 3 years old on this GNS board, regional, you know. And my parents, my family, they couldn't keep me off of it. And we lived on a hill, so we lived off of 19th Street. And it's like 18th and 19th Street, long time ago. But I bombed the hill at like 4 years old, man. My mom lost her shit. And that was it. You couldn't keep me off of it no more, you know. And at that time period, my dad was teaching me to surf, and so we were going down to like Oceanside, Carlsbad area all the time surfing. And then when I would go stay with my grandparents, I was in Morro Bay, which is like Great White Central, bro, but they got some gnarly waves. And that's like one of those things, like, you're willing to risk a lot for those two things, you know? So then we went to Nevada. It's like when I really started skateboarding more. I had this Thai friend, dude. His name was Sean Pupantong.
Okay.
Yeah, and his brother Ronnie, we were in elementary school, but his brother Ronnie was a teenager in high school.
Yeah.
I think he went to basic high school in Henderson. And so he would have to, like, I'd spend the night and he would have to babysit us, but he didn't want to. So he would throw us in the van with him and we'd go skate. Well, you gotta remember, like, skateboarding, like, you were a pirate back then because there were no skate parks.
Yeah.
They took all the skate parks out of California, like Upland and all that. So you had like Dana Point, you had like the Van skate park in Ontario, you know, things like that. In Temecula, we were lucky we had the Temecula skate park there. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, man, you had to break the law to go do the thing you love the most, you know? And it just became like a passion, dude. It was something that, like, I don't know, anybody that's watching this was a skateboarder or still is, knows we look at the world differently than the rest. Like, you guys see architecture, you see this, we see something we can shred. And the skateboarder will tell you what you can do. That spot will call to you. It knows your capability. So, like, you know, I don't know, dude. I'm like, skateboarding next to my wife and kids are like, it's just the thing I love more than anything. I still skate. When it's like this outside right now, I get so freaking depressed, dude. I never live like... You gotta remember, dude, in California, if there's powder on the ground, it's because the dope man just got shot and his bag blew up. Like, we don't get snow, dude. It drops to 40 degrees and National Guards call it in. So
that's crazy, bro.
But yeah, no, just skateboarding, man. Just all my friends, that's what we did, you know. We'd sneak out of the house at night and go hop fences, take generators, and it was different, man. I think skateboarding now is so, like, I think a lot of moms use skate parks as babysitters. Yeah. You know, drop them off. And you know, back in the day, man, we were real territorial because, again, we didn't have skate parks. So, like, I ran with the crew in Temecula. We called ourselves like the Red Hawk crew, you know, because where we lived was Red Hawk. Yeah. And so we even had like a gang sign and everything. Yeah. But no, it's like we had a couple parks, like regular parks in our neighborhood, and that was ours. Those benches were ours. Those gaps were ours. Those stairs were ours. So if somebody from another neighborhood came to skate our spot, like 20 of us would show up, dude, and it'd be like gang warfare. Especially when the rollerbladers. Oh my God, we hated rollerbladers. Oh, shit. Dude, they destroy spots, dude. They're gonna break them in because they put so much wax on it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But
that's
right. Dude, it'd be on site with those guys. And then, you know, this was no internet. There was none of that crap back then. Yeah. So you'd find a guy that knew how to do a front foot impossible. Dude, you take a 6-pack, you know, a little bag of weed with you, and you go track this guy down, and you better be able to skate good. And that's the way you would learn to do tricks. Now you just go on YouTube, you go on social medias, and there's all these influencers and stuff, you know, teaching you how to do stuff. But, you know, in my era, it was still a hard lifestyle. I mean, you partied all night and you skated all day. I mean, we'd sneak out of our classes and play skate. You know, commando crawl back inside you, and the other person would go out. And I mean, we were allowed to skate at my high school. My high school in Temecula was like anything you've seen for about a high school in California. Dude, we had a surfing class.
Oh, like, shit.
Yeah, you did PE in 9th grade, and once you were done, you had a whole option of different things to do, and one of them was surfing.
Oh, wow.
So we'd go on the weekends to Oceanside. We were only like 20 minutes from Oceanside. Yeah. So we'd all mob out and go surf, and that was your PE grade.
That's
sick.
What I mean? Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just the culture. And then, you know, like everything, dude, I took little breaks, and, you know, that ultimately... Unfortunately, addictions kicked in, and my balance was getting real messed up. And you know, anytime I'd go skate as an adult, dude, there was always whiskey with me. And then you start finding reasons to go take another swig and another swing, and so you know you just want to go party. And it got to that point, dude, where it was like this has taken me away from the thing I love more than anything. Like, skateboarding is the only thing consistent in my life. Everything I've done in my life, I can draw a direct line to a skateboard. Everywhere I've traveled, everything that is me was that. You know what I mean? And I think without skateboarding, I wouldn't have been the person I was. I definitely would be in prison. I definitely probably would have overdosed. Just because, you know, for me, it was like, I had the homies that were all, you know, hardcore Sureños. I had a lot of, like, Nazi lowrider friends in Lake Elsinore, a lot of woodpile dudes. And I was going down that track with them. And, you know, racism, things like that was kicking in, just the politics of Cali. And these dudes all got themselves locked up. They got themselves shot. They got into the meth industry, you know, things like that. And I just wanted to go skate, you know, and I wanted to just have the cool friends I thought were cool. In hindsight, a bunch of freaking losers, but a couple of them I still hold in my heart because we've been through some things together. But yeah, dude, I don't know how to really sum it up other than that's why there's a skateboard tattoo on most of the back of my head, you know. It's just the best things that's ever been done. And when I got sober, man, that was the number one therapeutic way for me to get sober.
That's good, man. That's been an outlet your entire life, dude. That's pretty cool.
I mean, dude, you forget everything that's going on in life, just like surfing, bro. You leave that at the beach. You know, it's like when I moved here, bros, that was a big culture shock, culture change. There's no beaches here. It's Tingley Beach. That ain't a beach, so.
I don't know where they got the word beach from over there.
I don't know, dude. You usually see a bum skinny dipping in there. But yeah, dude, it was just, that's the outlet, you know? It's like, dude, I love my wife. She's my best friend in the world, but dude, we all got Latino wives, bro. We want to be the alphas so bad, but they're the queens and they won't talk to you for weeks. So, you know, when things would go, you know, sideways, argument with her, dude, it was just go get on the board. I'll go skate for a couple hours, come back, and now I'm apologize, you know. I'm like able to humble myself and put my pride aside, and I was able to like really dissect, you know, things of my life, and it's always been with that skateboard. And that's why, you know, I've been such a gnarly dude, because there's nothing you could do to me or anybody in this world could do to me that the concrete hasn't already done. And I'll tell you right now, 42 years old, falling on concrete, dude, I lay there for like 5 minutes contemplating. It's like getting certain parts of my body tattooed at this age. I'm just like, why, dude? I don't even like seeing myself without a shirt on.
Yeah, man. The older you get, brother, I mean, your body's not going to be the same. But
no.
Yeah, dude, I couldn't even imagine, because I've never been a skateboarder. But yeah, I couldn't imagine. Like, I fell off a couple decks in my lifetime before, and even that, when I was younger, fucking hurt, dude.
Dude, I got a story for you. So I used to pop hard flips back, and so like in the 90s, dude, like we were all into this crew called Shorties. It was like Chad Muska, Steve Olson, Tone the Wind, Brandon Turner, Aaron Snyder, Sammy Baptista, Peter Smolik, who anyone that likes skateboarding, look up Peter Smolik. Greatest style of any skateboard. And that's what it's about. It's about style. Today, there's so many rules. There's like the Nigel Houstons and all these robotic freaking dudes living in Hollywood Hills. And it's like, you guys suck. It's a freaking toy, man. You guys are taking this and hanging out with Justin Bieber and stuff, you know? Like, dude, skateboarding is just sick. And at the end of the day, it's all about style. I'd rather see you do the most basic trick but make it look good than like a laser flip or dolphin flip and your body's not even turning. So I like would love doing hard flips, because like Chad Musk and all these dudes, man, they were busting out these most insane frontside flips, and like and I could get them high, dude. I could get them so high in the air. And at that time, we were riding tiny decks, bro, like 7.5s, you know. And I ride an 11.5 now, old man skateboarding and stuff. And so one time, dude, I freaking pulled this hard flip, and I didn't get my back foot out of the way. So the board, you know, so when you're doing a hard flip, dude, it's basically coming up and turning. I hit it, and I landed, boom, right in the huevos, dude, from probably about 5 feet in the air, and I slid. And I put my hands down there, and it was warm and wet, dude. I cut my freaking huevos open so bad, dude. I wouldn't let the paramedics touch me. Like, Nothing, dude. Fuck. And yeah, I was skateboarding like 3 days later, tearing stitches because I just like, dude, I'd break bones, and my mom would try to take wheels off my board, and I was like, at this time, I'm hiding, you know. Fact, I'm doing drugs, so I'm hiding skateboard wheels too. I'm like, go ahead, take them. Go in the back pocket, pull out another one with some bearings, and go shred.
Shit, dude, that's crazy, bro.
But that's wild, dude. That kind of stuff, dude, it hurt.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It becomes personal. That's when you know what you're made of. You know if you're gonna walk away from it, if it's just a fad, or you know. Because like, dude, there's two kinds of people, right? There's people that skate and there's skateboarders. That's how I look at it. Okay. So like, dude, just because you skate doesn't mean you're a skateboarder. You're not living that life. That's something that's gonna be with you the rest of your life, dude. If I had to sit here and think honestly and have a psychology of what would happen the day I can't skate anymore, like, dude, I really don't know if I'd want to live. Mm-hmm. Like, even if it's just pushing around the backyard. It's just been so consistent and such a best friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And dude, for how long I've skated, I suck. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't do the things I used to do because I have to prioritize work. I have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I got to be on the job site. I got to go do haircuts afterwards. I got to spend all day Saturday doing haircuts. Yeah. If I twist my ankle, how am I supposed to go down a 15-foot utility line? You know, if I break my wrist, like how am I supposed to, you know, hold 40 pounds of tools as I'm walking on a pipeline? You know what I mean? Yeah. So you have to like kind of at that point get to that age where you're like, dude, I'm just in it for fun. And I've paid my dues, so I'm like, I'm such a Nazi at the skate park, dude. These little youngsters get in front of me, dude, and I just throw their boards all the way across the park. I'm like, dude, get off your phone, bro. Like, don't stand in front of the ledge. I'm gonna shred right now on your phone. Just leave.
Yeah, that shit's annoying, bro.
But again, that's the era I grew up in, man. Like, you get smacked in the mouth if you said something wrong in the skate scene in California. Yeah. So
especially in that culture, man. Like back in the day, dude. Yeah. It was way more severe back then.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. It's gotten soft now, bro. Soft.
Yeah, that's a whole different story, bro. Next question, bro. What did skate culture teach you about independence, risk, and resilience?
Just everything, man. You believe in yourself. You know, you're looking at something that scares the hell out of you, man. Yeah. And you say, screw it, I'm gonna do it. And you do it. And then you land it. And that's like the main thing is, so like someone skating as long as I have, dude, we're freaking psychopaths. Like that many years of pain. You know, that many injuries. And I'm not pro. I'm not getting paid. I've never been given a free skateboard. Yeah. I just love it. And so the life lessons goes right back to what we were just talking about. You know, it's you spend so much time just to land one trick. And like I tell my son Malachi, it's like, dude, you landed that, now do it a second time. Yeah. Because you have to do it twice to say you've really done it. You know what I mean? And if you translate that into life, it's like anything else in life, man. There's, you know, I told you what I'm interviewing for on Thursday. I mean, it's a life-changing position for me. You know what I mean? It's a pretty high up there role and title, and it's, you know, I already have adversities looking the way I do, and I have no apologies. That's why FU's tattooed on my eyebrow, you know, but, you know, it's going from the heavy equipment operator and labor way of life into supervisor, meeting with developers, stuff like that. And so, you know, these are a lot of college educated engineers and stuff like that. I think they're just better than everybody. But it goes back to what I've learned with skateboarding is, dude, I just go in there and own it. Mm-hmm. It takes 5 minutes to look past the way I look if you take the time to not be ignorant and actually take a chance to get to know who I am. So, you know, skateboarding has really made it to the point where I've put a middle finger up to the world. And it's like, I'm going to do it my way. Just like Johnny Rotten said, you know, I'll do it my way. It's just that, man, is, you know, being independent, thinking, not following trends, not being the status quo. I'm not apologizing to absolutely anybody, especially, dude, right now with the politics and stuff, dude. Like, I'm the most hated man in the world, a white bald-headed freaking dude, you know what I mean, that loves America.
Yeah.
Like, basically, bro, I could drive with a swastika on my truck and my window will still be there.
Yeah.
I go put an American flag on my truck looking the way I do, bro, it's going to be smashed by the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I'm not apologizing. I didn't put nobody into a slave camp. I didn't do none of that crap. I don't know anybody that ever did, and I'm not going to apologize to anybody. And that goes right back to the resilience of maintaining consistency in skateboarding. It just has changed the way I thought from a young age. And it's just like, dude, I'm not, if you don't like me, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
If you don't want to be around me, fine. Like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I'm not going home and cutting myself and, you know, freaking looking constantly on social media mad that nobody likes anything I do, you know? So, yeah, dude, I little off topic from there. But, yeah, dude, I can't, it would take too long if I was to go through every little thing that I've learned with skateboarding. To me, it's not a hobby. It's not for fun. Because, dude, it's not even that fun sometimes. It's just routine. I just want to do it, you know. So, but other times, you know, that has changed. Dude, I was very angry as a skateboarder. I would focus boards and throw them. And now the minute that I feel like I'm going to snap, dude, it's time to go home. Yeah. Like, because the whole point is having fun, dude. It's being a kid. It's still doing what I did 35 years ago when I first got on a board. Yeah. You know, so when I go to work every day, dude, you know, to me it's like, all right, I got to make sure I do what I got to do because I want to go skate. Yeah. You know, if I see what my schedule looks like, because I work for a civil engineering company, so, you know, 1 minute I'm at a 15-foot deep trench line doing utilities, and the next minute I'm QCing an asphalt roadway project or something like that. Well, sometimes there's like a 3-hour gap, and I gotta drive from like Moriarty to Santa Fe. So I'm like, dude, I know where every skate park is. I'm gonna take my Thoroughgoods off real quick, throw on my Nikes, and I'm gonna go shred, you know, wearing Carhartt work pants and everything, and just get an hour in, you know. That's what's up. So, like, to me, dude, it's kind of like you can't take life so serious because we all get caught up in this, like, grind of going to work, status, materialism, all that crap. And at the end of the day, you're going to die. I'm going to die. We're all going to die. Every single freaking person's going to die. I've come close to it so many times in my life, you know, watching blood shooting out of my chest and stuff. Yeah. It's like, dude, you can't take it that serious, bro, because when I die, there ain't going to be no U-Haul on my hearse. I'm not taking it with me. Yeah. You know what I mean? If I leave $5 to my kids, well, shit, I hope I raised you good enough to save and do something for yourself, you know? Mm-hmm. And now, again, it just goes back to the independence of skateboarding, dude. Because I did the baseball, I did the football, getting yelled at, told I'm not doing it right, go sit on the bench, dude. Nobody's telling you what to do on a skateboard. Yeah. You're on it on your own, dude. You're getting yelled at by your friends to hype you up to jump 15 feet to flat, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you're 100% independently on your own. You're that kid that's in their front yard trying to learn their first kickflip. You're that kid that's, you know, driving in the back seat and with your fingers you're on the power lines skating it, you know. We didn't have no tech decks back then.
Yeah, I remember those too.
So yeah, dude, it's just everything I know, everything that I think is my personality, that would be like 90% from skateboarding. Okay. You know, 10% from just psychoness.
Yeah, we'll go a little more over that too here. So the next topic, if you're comfortable speaking about it, is addiction, struggle, and recovery. So when did drugs and alcohol first enter your life, and what role did they play back then?
God, man, so alcohol and cigarettes were like 11, 12 years old. Okay. So I started like just trying to be cool. Yeah. So, you know, like we would dare each other to swallow a cigarette, like inhale and blow it out our nose, but we were swallowing it. Yeah. So like 5 minutes later, you burp and come back up. And then I remember taking like, my mom's half Italian, so like taking her cooking wine, because she made such a great sauce, man, a wine-based sauce that I still make. Yeah. But dude, I didn't know there wasn't alcohol in it. Yeah. So I was thinking I was drunk, you know, but then I started drinking like vodka and gin with some homies, and that took a hold, man, and the weed and stuff, you know. So like from like 12 to 15, man, I was just drinking and smoking weed, you know, and just skating with the homies. And then I was like 16 years old, I got introduced to cocaine from my mom, of all people.
Okay.
It was pure Peruvian.
Man.
You took a key bump of this stuff, you know, and I was like, cool. I liked it. And I was working at the time at Tower Records. Remember Tower Records?
Yes, I do.
So I was right there off of, I think it was like Sahara and Decatur in Vegas, because I went for my junior year in high school to live with my mom.
Yeah.
And there was this girl, Sarah, there, dude, and she was pretty hot, bro. And I was just trying to hit on her, but she was doing meth. She hadn't done it long enough that it started taking her appearance over. So, you know, I'm just this 16-year-old fire engine red Liberty Spike freaking punk rock dude, and she worked at a cafe that was in Tower Records, and she's like, hey, come to the back of the cafe. And I'm like every 16-year-old dude, I'm like, oh yeah. Nah, it wasn't that. She had 2 lines laid out, you know, and a little thing of water. And so she's like, oh, you want to try it? Hell yeah, let's try it. So, you know, I did the line, and she showed me how to take the water and shoot it down your nose because the stuff burns. And dude, that was it. I was addicted from right there, man. And I ended up going home with her, not for any reason sexual, nothing like that. I went home with her to her boyfriend and stuff, and dude, I was smoking it this first night, because you know there's 2 different effects with that stuff. And so I got hooked, man. I think I was up for about a week the first time I did it, and just wilded out. And it became really bad. Like, it became an everyday thing. I had to do it. And then that's when crime started setting in.
Yeah.
And I know my capabilities. I know, you know, the kind of person I was at that time in my life. So a lot of things I'm not going to get into to come up for money and how we got our hands on stuff. But, you know, then I went back to California, and I was there. My dad just couldn't handle it with me, you know. He was just watching me deteriorate. And I think I was like 115 pounds at 6 feet tall at that time. You know what I mean? I don't look that tall sitting down with scoliosis. But so I went back to Vegas, man, and started hanging out with some pretty bad people, man, and some white guys. And so I started learning how to cook it, how to do all that stuff. And then I started noticing a trend. So, like, whenever I would do, like, drugs and that addiction, that era in my life, I would ask questions. Like, what's it like? What do you feel like? You know, blah, blah, blah. Because I was naive. I was a young kid. I was afraid of overdosing, things like that. So I started hanging out with dudes that were slamming, that were shooting up. And, you know, that's why I have 5150 tattooed on my eyes. I got put in, like, 3 mental institutions before I was 18 years old, because I stay up for, like, 2 weeks and go insane, bro. I remember, like, we had the gang unit in Vegas, dude. These dudes are all paramilitary and everything, coming in, you know, 8 of them, bro. And you're not being arrested, you're being detained. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Or you're being committed. I didn't know what that meant. And the next thing I know, I'm going to these hospitals, Mountain View Hospital in the west side of Vegas. And it's like, oh yeah, you're going to go to a mental hospital now. And we're going to shoot you up full of Thorazine and all this stuff, or whatever it's called. So I was a master manipulator. I mean, I was even able to flirt with one of the nurses that, you know, took my cuffs and loosened them, so when no one was around, I could pull my arm out. And I'll never forget, she altered my paperwork, so it made the insurance think they had to pay $5,000 a day.
Oh shit.
So yeah, they said no real fast, and I went home and got high.
Damn.
So I started hanging out with these dudes that were slamming, bro. And the whole time I said I had no problem being a druggie, but I wasn't going to be a junkie. I was never going to put a needle in my body. And I started asking the same questions. So I remember going home, and I was hot railing at the time. So basically you're heating up your stem, snorting it, and you're blowing a cloud out.
Yeah.
And I was going to sleep. I was eating. I'm like, it dawns on me, like, dude, the party's done. Like, I need this just to freaking get out of bed now, you know? And I don't want to be that dude. So I would get California sober. You know, you drop one thing for the next. So then, like, acid came in, and, like, that stuff was pretty cool. But, you know, but then, yeah, like, the party scene came in, like, the ketamines, the catecines, PCP, things like that. And then around 20, man, I found out I was going to be a dad. That's when I found I was going to have my first daughter. So it slowed down, you know, and it never went away, though. It just kind of got put for, like, when I could, you know. And then it to be honest, dude, it all came back, because the alcohol was always there. I didn't think I had a problem with alcohol. We'll get to that one here in a minute. But then when I moved to New Mexico, dude, and the popularity that I gained in such a fast amount of time, I think there's even been times I've handed you a mirror for your haircut and a powdery substance has fallen off of it. You know, I had a lot of gang members, dude. I got my nickname from Los Padillas. You know what I mean? So if you remember when I came out here, I was like Gorgeous Kenny D. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got the name The Butcher from some homies from Los Pas.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that those kind of people were coming around, and none of the things I just said with like falling off mirrors, and nothing associated with those guys, but just certain people that were getting haircuts from me would do trade work. You know, here, I'll throw you a gram, give me a haircut, and I'll do a gram with you while we do the haircut. So they came back, and then, you know, I started hanging out with certain tattooers out here, a couple guys from Port Vita and stuff like that, and you know, some of them were more on like the Sereno side and like the South Side or TRC sides and stuff like that. So we kind of had that going for us just from where I'm from. And it came back. And then when I met my wife, it was kind of, that was when it was done, like as far as like the heavy drug use.
Yeah.
But that's when the alcohol took over. And you know, it's funny, dude, it's like alcohol was the hardest thing I ever dealt with. Like I went to rehab because of alcohol, you know.
Yeah.
I was drinking a fifth a day just to get through. Yeah. And then like 1 week a month, I was doing the poor guy binge. So I drink like a gallon in one day and I wouldn't eat for like 3 or 4 days. Just so I could keep getting drunk. And that's, you know, the barbershop started having issues. I was trying to fight everybody because I was already, you know, a fifth in by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I started drinking at 6. And, it just got to the point, dude, where I went to jail like 6 times in a year and a half. And I got a felony. Again, never had a felony. I've had felonies, but as a minor, never got one as an adult. Got a felony here in New Mexico. And so they did this like first time felons program. And it's like, all right, you go do this probation for a year at the Joe W. Brown building, check in once a month. You don't got to call colors or anything like that. And mine was a violent crime, so I didn't have like drug testing, nothing like that, so I could still get drunk. I just couldn't have police interaction. They even told me don't skate anywhere that someone could call the police on you because you're trespassing. Just go to the skate park. And I ended up picking up an aggravated battery charge, criminal property damage, forced entry, and then 3 counts of felony battery on a police officer. I ended up fighting 3 cops in my front yard, you know, with a knife in my, like, dude, I was just wasted, you know. And so I went to jail, and I'm like, dude, I'm screwed. Like, the charges alone, I'm looking at 15 years. Like, and at my age, and having California tattoos in the 13s, and some of the white guy stuff from that era of my life on me, like, I'm gonna have to do something drastic when I get locked up in a New Mexican prison system, and I'm probably gonna get a life sentence. So, all right, let's do it. You know, I got myself mentally prepared. At this point, my wife has just had it. I mean, freaking had it, dude. And she wanted nothing to do with me. And I literally just went and slept at a park for like a weekend, you know, and didn't drink, was getting sick. And I said, you know what? I got to save my marriage. I got to. So I'm going to try to get sober. And I did this all just for the purpose of being healthy to go to prison. I was going to bulk up. I was going to get crazy, freaking big. And I was just going to try to become a monster before I got sent away. And luckily, my PO, man, she was so awesome, bro. Like, I called her, and of course, she was pissed. And she said, just get in here. And so she's like, we're going to see what they do. I'm not going to revoke you. Because if she revoked me, like, my charges were from COVID. So I was going to go back into the trial system. My bond was going to be revoked. And I was probably going to go sit for, like, 2 or 3 years in county before the backlog caught up for felony court, municipal. So I was like, dude, I'm screwed, whatever. So I went to Turning Point Recovery, dude, and God, it was the best thing I ever did in my life. And, you know, I went and talked to him, and, dude, they said my blood alcohol level was so high I should be dead. And I hadn't drank in a couple of days, and it sucked because they won't let you use something to get into the program. You have to be sober. So I had to go 4 days. That's how long it takes, like 3 or 4 days for alcohol to get out of your system. Oh my God, dude, it was gnarly, but I had to do it. So I got into rehab. They wanted me to go to RHC and go live there. I was like, no, I ain't gonna do that, you know. And so I just did like the intensive outpatient stuff. So I was going like group therapy and individual therapy, things like that.
Yeah.
And dude, it was a nightmare. Like I've told you before, like I was running like 105-degree temperature, borderline seizures, like,
yeah.
And that's, alcohol and benzos are the only thing you can die from during detox. You're not going to die from heroin. You're going to feel like you are, but you're not going to. Alcohol, you really will. And my wife just stood by my side, man, and kept me. She didn't say she was going to stay with me, but you love somebody enough, dude, you're going to put in the Boy Scout effort and try.
Yep.
And again, alternative motives. I was trying to go to prison yoked out.
Yeah.
And so I knew I was screwed, right? Because when I was in jail, I went to my bond hearing. And you're not doing a not guilty or anything like that. They're just, you either getting ROR'd, they're going to hold you, or they're going to put a price down for you to get out. So they ROR'd me. But like 9 hours went by and I didn't process. Dude, I've gone to jail so many times since I was a kid. It's like, dude, it's an 8-hour process. What's going on?
Yeah.
12 hours. And at this time frame is when the governor did that state of emergency for New Mexico. They didn't have enough COs. So we were on 24-hour lockdown and nobody was coming in. So I finally got a CO. He looked it up and he was like, dude, I don't know what's going on. They're waiting for the judge's signature to release you. Do you have any charges? I was like, no, but felony probation. He's like, dude, you're not going home. It's the worst thing to hear, especially when you're in jail detoxing.
Yeah.
And you think you're going home, and then you find out you're probably not. Well, luckily, I went home a few hours later.
Yeah.
And so when I went to this court hearing, dude, they gave me 2 papers at once. I knew I was screwed. It was my arraignment and my pretrial date. They never give you a pretrial date at bond.
Mm-hmm.
Pretrial means they might throw it out. No, the state's pursuing the aggravated battery charges on a police officer. They're going after me, and all you can pray is consecutive, concurrent, whatever they're going to give you. Do I do my time all at once, or do I have to do each individual one back to back? So I'm getting out, dude. I'm like, oh, this sucks. All right, blah, blah, blah. So a week before the arraignment, I went to downtown to the public defender's office and wanted an attorney. So you just give him $10, you get a public pretender. And she came back. She's like, I can't represent you. I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Lower middle class. I don't got no money.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, they dropped your charges. They nullied it. So nully means that they could bring them back up. But I got a letter from the DA, man. And it's like, you know what, dude? I got nothing but respect for them. Because it basically said, like, you put yourself in rehab on your own. Like, you're trying to do something. And, I think a lot of people don't realize, because I know I didn't, how bad Albuquerque is. Or New Mexico in general.
Mm-hmm.
Especially where I came from, dude. I'm like, man, I was born in LA. Like, guys can't do nothing that we haven't already invented. And I came out here and it was just like, I think the Victoria Martins thing happened like a week after I moved here. I was like, where am I, And then I started seeing how bad addiction was out here, And so, it was heartfelt from this DA. I think it was like an ADA. It wasn't like the elected guy, but basically just saying, like, you keep doing it. BCSO backed off. They dropped their charges. They're like, if you're going to go do your thing, do your thing. If you screw up, we're coming for you, though. We're going to give you the full thing.
Yeah, right.
And that's been almost 4 years. 4 years in June. And no relapse, But I remember going to so I don't agree with rehab, dude. I thought about going to school at Highland and becoming a social service worker. And I was like, dude, that'd be pretty cool. Taking my experience, putting it back out there, the community helping and rehab.
Yeah.
But dude, the rehabs are crooked. The American rehabilitation systems are meant for you to fail. And they tell you a timeline the first day you're there. They're like, all right, day 1 through 9, detox. Day 1 through 15, withdraw. Day 15 through 45 is called the pink cloud. That's where you feel good again. You're starting to be able to sleep again. You're not shaking as bad. The withdrawals are gone. It's kind of like a bad memory of an ex-girlfriend in the back of your brain, But then they drop the bomb on you. Day 46 is when you're most likely to relapse. And that goes to day 109.
Oh, shit.
So they're setting you up from the very beginning, and then they make you check in. Hey, my name's Kenny. My drug of choice is cocaine and alcohol. I've been sober, blah, 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 blah. So all you're doing is reminding yourself on a daily basis how much closer you are to wanting to do it again. And then they're like, oh, you're an alcoholic, you're 9 times more likely to relapse the stimulants. Okay, well, I'm a former meth head. Like, I don't want to do that again. Dude. That sucks, you know? So I took it like the most punk rock FU approach in it. Like, dude, fighting with them. They make you have accountability buddies. I don't want to talk to none of these people. I'm not better than them, but I don't want a dude hooked on opiates calling my house at night. I don't need to tell him nothing. All these people were in like sober living environments, and dude, going to AA meetings like crazy. If AA works for you, dude, more power to you. But to me, it's just the cool people club. It's like, dude, my addictions were 22 years straight. The only time I was ever sober was in jail. You know what I mean? And that wasn't sober because I wanted to be. And you better believe every time I got out of county jail, dude, somebody got a phone call within minutes of me getting picked up, you know? So it's like, dude, I'm not going to go there and live with, I'm an addict on my back. That doesn't define me as a human being, you know? It's a part of my life that I have no regrets. I don't remember a lot of it, but I know I had fun. Yeah. And I mean, I don't regret nothing about it. You know, it's damaged a shit ton of relationships for sure. But yeah, dude, I mean, it's been the best thing I ever did. Yeah. Like, and you realize how messed up society is. Because when you're shit-faced drunk, bro, nobody cares or questions you getting in your car to drive home. The minute somebody calls you and says, hey, you want to get a drink? No, man, I quit. All of a sudden, dude, are you all right? Is everything all right? Yeah. And it's because, you know, socially it's acceptable. You do hard drugs, you do that in a dark room where nobody can see you. What do we all do on Friday nights when we're done working? We go out and drink, you know? So when I got sober, I just really wanted to, I didn't want to make anybody suffer for what I put them through, so I didn't want to make anything change. The only 2 things I did different was I wasn't going to go sit at a bar. So one thing, my wife even had to learn that when she first started dating me, is any kind of corporate structure, dude, pay attention if you go to Chili's, Hooters, whatever, pay attention to who sits by the bathrooms. Really pay attention to that. So you go to Chili's, BJ's, any of these big name places, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see cholos, black dudes, heavily tattooed people sitting in the very back away from everyone where they can hear a freaking urinal every 5 minutes. They'll walk you by every open chair there is where families are sitting, but they'll keep you away. And we've even experimented this. Like, my wife would go to that Chili's on Coors and I-40 and going by herself, and you see my wife, beautiful young lady, heavily tattooed, but with clothes on you never know, and they'll sit her in a convenient place. But then I'll do it by myself and we're back by the bathroom. So that's also the same thing. They'll want us to go to the bar. So I said, I'm not going to sit at the bar and I'm not going to buy the alcohol. But I didn't want my wife to quit drinking. She drinks. Yeah. But dude, she's had a case of, I don't know, whatever beer she drinks in the fridge for like 2 months. She has a half pint of whiskey that'll sit there for like 4 months. So I just wasn't going to change nothing, you know, and I was like in rehab, I just was so against them. But that place helped me. I mean, they gave me a lot of good therapy, helped me face a lot of, you know, suppression, things that, and that's the thing with alcohol, you think you're trying to keep things hidden and hide it. But then you wake up hungover, hair of the dog, you start drinking again, and you're just more depressed than you were. Yeah. And it's like, I look at it now, like, dude, 3.5 years, I got 2 trucks now. I'm making more money in the trades than I ever made as a young union laborer. You know what I mean? I got I had a child since then. You know, we tried for 3 years to have a kid. I mean, we were putting in the effort, bro, trying to have a kid. A month after I got sober and truly in my heart wanted to be sober, she got pregnant with Theo. And she has fibromyalgia, so she's not supposed to get pregnant. Yeah. You know what I mean? And yeah, it was the best thing, dude, because, you know, unfortunately with my daughters, they had to ride with me through all that stuff and see, you know, the devil many nights. So yeah. I just really think that God knew my intentions were true and what I was trying to become and who I wanted to be, you know. Yeah. I think he gave us Theo at the right points. That's why we named him Theodore, you know, gift from God. And he's you've seen little man, dude.
Yeah, man.
My best friend in the world. So
it's a blessing, bro.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man.
So yeah, man, just getting sober, bro. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and it is paid 1,000 times. And especially I'm trying to like really get a deeper faith with God and a better relationship. And I never used God to get sober. I figured, dude, where were you? Where were you for 22 years, dude? Now I'm supposed to thank you for this. I'm going to do this on my own, but then I'm going to ask you to walk with me for the rest, keep me accountable. So, yeah, dude, I'm not one of these like go to church kind of guys, bro. You'll never catch me in church. Just not really thinking long and hard of not cussing as I'm talking, because we all know I cuss a lot. But yeah, dude, I really am grateful and thankful to God, and it's just I take strength from that, trying to get a better foundation. But don't get me wrong, dude, you piss me off, I'll go outside in a heartbeat and mop the floor. You see me in the bouncing world, dude. Yeah, I'll go knock someone out and come back smiling.
Yeah, that's exciting too, man. I love seeing all that action, man. What's up, everybody? This podcast is brought to you and sponsored by the Rock Family Therapy. Not every battle is fought in combat. Some are fought in silence, in your head, in your home, or behind the mask you wear every day. At the Rock Family Therapy, they stand with those who fight to rise again. Veterans, first responders, parents, or anyone carrying the weight of trauma, loss, or stress. This isn't just talk therapy. It's rebuilding from the inside out. It's mental conditioning for life. A place to reset, refocus, and rise stronger, whether your uniform is military, professional, or just the armor you put on to make it through the day. If you're ready to face what's been holding you back, they're ready for you. Call or text 505-336-0238 or email r.villy@therockfamilytherapy.com or visit therockfamilytherapy.com, because warriors come in many forms and every warrior needs a rock. What's up, everybody? This podcast is sponsored and brought to you by Toehold. As you know, I've been a long-time customer and supporter of Toehold. I'll give you 3 reasons why I love this company. 1 is because they're huge supporters of veterans, law enforcement, and first responders. 2nd reason is because everything is American-made with integrity as it should be. And 3rd reason is because they have the best customer service that you'll ever receive with timely responses. Now, their main focus is flip-flops that'll last you a lifetime, but they also sell caps, shirts, rash guards, wallets, you name it. One of my favorite ethically sourced exotic leathers here is Murder Hippo flip-flops. We got stingray, elephant, crocodile, and if you don't want an exotic leather, you got different options on vegetable tan leather with stamps and colors. And going to the wallets here, we got zebra, we got stingray, we got John Wayne style minimalist wallet, and then going to the key fobs. So guys, go show your support. You have so many options with different exotic leathers. Go show your support for AG and Toehold. Tell them I sent you. Thank you. Peace out. Let me see. Where's my next question here? So you kind of answered getting sober, so I'll skip that one. But let's see. How did recovery change the way you approach work, family, and self-discipline?
Exponentially, man. If there's anyone suffering with any kind of addiction, get sober. Like you get your life back. You take control of yourself. Getting sober was, God, it was so hard, bro. It was like just so hard, and like having to make certain life changes, man, and like not going certain places. That's when I built the barber shop separately, and didn't want to do it mainstream no more. I had to cut a lot of people out. Not that I was any better than him. Like my boy Jesse, man, God rest his soul, dude. This is my best friend out here. Unfortunately, he passed away a few months ago, and he just didn't stop doing what he was doing. But I never stopped keeping him around. Crazy Norteño, dude, bro. He was just my dog, man. If somebody disrespected me, that guy would go shoot him just on my behalf. Just such. A lot of people are probably, oh no, but nah, dude. If you get a friend like that, that's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't stop getting messed up.
Yeah.
And I never once judged him. I never pushed what I was doing, because what I do, everything in my life I do it behind closed doors. I don't put it out for the world to know.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because I'm trying to be a better person, whether it's fasting for 5 days or it's whatever. Dude, I don't need to announce that for attention,
Mm-hmm.
But he just didn't. He thought I was better than him, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to even say goodbye to him when he passed away, and like I don't talk about it, but like it hurts bad, but you know, one thing that I noticed is that when you get sober, man, like, you take on everything so much different, because it becomes like, if you're someone like me, you're so competitive with yourself. I had to be one of the best barbers. I had to be known. Like, it mattered that I was on TV. It mattered that I was in magazines. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like, I did this. I worked for this. And so it's no different now with life. It's like, all right, cool, dude. I went 1 month sober. I'm going to go 2. I went 1 year sober. I'm going to go 3. Like, for my job, dude, I started this job in August. I'm making like, I've gotten $9 in raises since then, you know, and I'm working like, my boss will say we're working a half day, and that means 12 hours, you know what I mean? So overtime's great. I mean, dude, I got the Pro 4X out there. Like, I've never bought a new truck before. And I'd rather be in my 93 Ford any day than that. But I just look at what I've done. Like, dude, I'm up at 3. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm up at 3. I'm working out. I'm spending time for myself. I'm spending time with God. I'm spending time getting my tools in my truck, getting ready for the day. I travel, dude. I drive like 700, 800 miles a week for work all over the state. So I might be at a development project in Santa Fe one day, and then I'm at a fire station project in Chimayo the next day, and then I'm here in Albuquerque on the, you know, the water lines that they're doing in the war zone and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
It's having that discipline to get there on time, number one. To be professional and courteous in what I do, you know, this is my final say on what's going on over there. So I got to make sure, you know, I'm on my game with that. So sobriety really is kind of made me focus more. You know, in the bouncing world, I found out it was even worse as far as like the violence. Because dude, I mean, 5 years as a bouncer downtown, dude, I fought every single night I was at work. Like, dude, it was such a cool job. You're telling me I'm getting paid to knock somebody out. Like, awesome, man. Listen to a band. Like, shoot, Matt Honeycutt knows who I am, dude. Freaking Kuba Khan, you know?
Yeah.
Freaking Gary Holt knows who I am from Exodus and Slayer. He doesn't know me by name, but, you know, I'm the tattooed dude at the Sunshine. And so I noticed, like, it got a lot more violent, and that's why I quit. I don't want to be that person anymore. You got to give me a damn good reason to knock you out, and a damn good reason for me to take the chance of getting knocked out myself. But you know, I noticed when I was fighting, I was connecting where I was aiming. So, dude, I broke a lot of ribs. You know, I was able to get that kidney shot real fast and get the coup de grace with the elbow to the forehead. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, and I say that like not gloating or nothing, but yeah, just everything, relationships, you know. I don't know, dude, it's the best thing I did. I don't regret not doing it sooner, but I kind of wish I did.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Also, like, psychology of sobriety is you don't grow up from the time you started. So I mean, I've been a 16-year-old up until 3 years ago. That's when meth came in. So your brain doesn't develop. It doesn't grow up. You know, it's a lot of... Being a barber is like the best job to do if you had a drug addiction. Because you're just getting paid to hang out and talk. And when you're good like I am, whatever. So people say, you know, if I can't make your haircut on time, you'll wait. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you've driven a few times 40 minutes now that you live over here to come get a haircut. People will wait if it's worth it, but there's a fine line there. They'll only wait so many times, you know? One thing I learned, especially as I got really good at barbering and really popular, was that you're paying me to do something you can't do yourself. Like, if you don't want to sit on my chair, there's 5 people in that waiting room hoping I have an opening for you versus the other 6 guys that are working next to me. Yeah. So I don't need your business. But that's, you know, to me, that was, I think, a lot of the ways that kind of hurt me in my industry was I was so, not cocky, but confident in what I did and known, especially out here. I was the guy that was, I think it was, what's that dude's name? He was in Men's Health magazine, Gabe. Freaking odd. We've never met, but we both know who each other is. He was in Men's Health magazine, and at the time I moved here, he was like one of the only dudes doing like psychobilly hairstyles and stuff like that. And a lot of tattooers were going to him, and then they started coming over to me, you know. And he was getting a little butthurt about it because it was like they were jumping shit to come with the West Coast barber new in town. I wasn't in Men's Health, but I was in Ink Magazine, and I was in Old School, you know, Rods, the Rockabilly, you know, car magazines for tattoo culture and stuff. So, you know, it's cool, man. There's a lot of really good talent out here, and a lot of addictions attached to that talent, and I've seen a lot of them fall off.
Yeah.
A lot of them, dude. There was a dude when I owned Sixville. I didn't want to do any of the management part. I just wanted to own it and fade off in the background. We all know I had to melt down with co-owners. Don't ever open a business with someone who's a customer of yours. And like the typical F the world fashion, I left everything behind and left. But dude, this guy, I don't want to say his name and all that. People, their business out there, but he was on sobriety from opiates, and he relapsed. Dude, he was such an amazing barber, dude. Like he would want me to cut his hair, and as good as I was, like, I got intimidated cutting his hair. Cause like barbers, dude, we don't have to look. We know when you've gone too high. We know, we have a trained eye to see the mountaintops and the ridges and what you think looks good. You know, that's why we use our mirrors. That mirror's not for you. That mirror's for me. The small mirror is for you.
Yeah.
You know, that's for me to see my shadow tones, you know, things like that. But, you know, I've watched all this amazing talent fall off. And so, you know, I was on that same path, and just sobriety, dude, is everything. Being a friend, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, being a laborer in the, you know, construction industry again, you know, just everything has come full circle. It's prioritized, but at the same time, it's not life. And you know, that's been a battle. It's because I always say, dude, I work to live, I don't live to work, but my wife and kids are my life, therefore I don't want her working. She hasn't had to work in 4 years. You know, she hasn't had to make a car payment. She hasn't had to pay a cell phone bill. She's got thousands of dollars of, you know, Yeezys and jewelry, and, you know, anything she wants is hers. Anything my son wants is his. Anything my other boys want is theirs, you know. And it's that would have never happened before. When you have a $600 to $1,000 a week addiction going on. People have taken back burners to your addiction, you know? So, yeah, dude, full circle, bro. Sobriety is just that, and eating healthy, you know, watching what you eat, tracking what you eat. It's amazing what it does to your body, your mind, your spirit, everything.
Yeah, for sure, man. I like it. It's very, very transparent, bro. I like it. We'll jump into your craft, your work, and your mastery. What does being a master barber mean to you, just beyond cutting hair?
And it's just cool, you know. I've had a 20+ year career. I started cutting kids' hair when they were 2 and cut their hair for their graduation. You know, the barber's a good barber. A true barber can do a C+ haircut with an A+ attitude and make more money than these dudes that are on Instagram putting their $150 haircut out there that are douchebags. It's dude, you're a psychologist, bro. I have had people say stuff, dude. I've even thought of, like, dude, I should make a TV show, just the crap that people have said in the barber chair. It's, you know, I'm standing behind them, and they're just, you know, opening up to me and things they probably should be keeping in their dirty secrets, you know. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, dude. Like, master barber to me is a different word than it is here. So, dude, in the West Coast, bro, like, there's a process to become a barber. You have to be a high school graduate. You can't be, you know, a repeat offender, a pedophile. Dude, there's and I am going to put it out there, Metro Barbershop. They have a couple people, I don't know if they're still there. There's one dude in particular that was convicted 3 times of touching a kid under the age of 8.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? You can't get that kind of license in the West Coast. So then we got to take an AIDS test. We got to take a hepatitis test. We got to take a chest x-ray. We got to take make sure our back's good and everything like that. That's just to get into barber school. So then we go to barber school for like a couple years. It's talking like, I think 1,600 hours, Monday or Tuesday through Saturday for 8 hours. You gotta do, by the time in California, by the time you get out of barber school, you've done more haircuts than most barbers in Albuquerque will do in 5 years professionally.
Damn.
You have to do 2,000 haircuts. You have to do like X amount of shaves. You have to do toupee fittings, color corrections, things like that, just to have on the checkoff list. So then when you get out of barber school, you have to go find someone to apprentice you. And you got to come out of your own pocket. Because, see, what people don't understand is barber school ain't teaching you to be a barber. And you have certain people that are just prodigies. And I've met a few of those guys. There's a lot of shops that will let people that aren't licensed work there because they're incredible. Like dudes I've looked at. There's a guy out here, Pauly Designs. Man, this dude, I watched him cut his hair once. Better fade than I've ever given anyone. He did it by himself, and he was doing it all with shears. You know what I mean?
Oh shit.
Yeah, dude. You don't like those are the kind of dudes that like they're if they can keep their head straight, they're gonna like become something amazing.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're a master. You know what I mean? So where I'm from, like you got to do your apprenticeship. You got to cut. 7 years later, boom, you're a master. Because to be a master barber, you have to know how all different hair types work. Albuquerque, bro, I mean, face it, dude, is small percentage of white people and mainly Spaniards, Latinos, and Native. Mm-hmm. There is not a lot of Asians here. There's not a lot of black dudes here. You know what I mean? So you can't call yourself a master barber when you've done like 3 black dudes your whole career. You don't know going against the grain, with the grain, things like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Certain cultures, bro, you can't shave them because they bump up. You have to learn how to deal with it. So when I became the master or whatever you want to be, I mean, to me it was nothing like. It was just like, this is what I've wanted to do since I was a kid. How many people have pursued their childhood dream? Right. And then not only that, made a name for themselves with it, So, it's just learning. And I think for me, the turning point was when I could screw up a haircut and know how to fix it. That's like the best feeling as a barber, dude. Mm. You're supposed to be running that 1/16 of, and you're trying to etch it in, clipper over comb, and then you hit them with a closed blade, and now there's a check mark in their head, but now you know how to still keep that 1/16 blend tone in there by going open clipper and using corners and flicking it out, Yeah. So that was that, and then it was kind of like, you have to evolve. Because trends, they change, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like when I moved here, it was like, the bouquet special, bro. Let me get a 2 on top, high razor fade, boxed out.
Yep.
So tired of doing those. And then as you know, like I like traditional barbering. So I don't use foils or nothing. If you want a razor fade, it's a straight razor. It's the way it should be, I don't like doing my fades or doing my haircuts with guards because, to be honest, dude, I could go anywhere in the world with a clipper and a comb and that's it, and I could do a haircut.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, dude, when I shattered my hand and I had to have surgery. Mm-hmm. I was putting the comb in the cast and standing on a ladder.
Yeah. Because
I'd have to turn sideways. But it was just knowing how to improvise. So it's to me that was awesome, but. It's tattooed on me, and I got a barber pole on my face. I've got my shaving, stuff on my freaking chin.
Yeah.
My head and all that. I'm 100% in, but I'll never stop cutting hair. I think just with the new school coming in, I really lost a lot of passion as far as trying to compete, especially out here. Mm-hmm. Because again, the standards are so different out here. You just have to have a 10th grade education and that's it. Mm-hmm. You're considered a master barber the minute you take your test, and then you got these guys trying to freaking charge $60-$70 a haircut. I never wanted to do that, so I think last year, the wife and I said, all right, let's go open up a big shop. So we had $30,000 to go play with. And when you own a shop for 5 years straight like I did, you're not paying attention to what other people are doing. I didn't realize how many freaking barbershops are in Albuquerque. There's no regulation whatsoever.
Yeah.
In the West Coast, dude, we have kind of a 4 square mile rule.
Yeah.
There can't be a barbershop within a barber. There's literally like strip malls with 2 barber shops in the same parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
So then it becomes Coke and Pepsi. You know, some like Coke better than Pepsi, like, and that's just not an industry that I want to invest money into anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I had the shop, dude, especially when we had the butcher shop in the Old Town, I mean, dude, my overhead was like $4,000 a month there. You know what I mean? Just to have that location, the size that I had of the shop, all the rooms and everything. And it's like, I don't want to invest money for, especially in a city that if somebody's homeless camped out in front of my shop, I'm going to get a freaking civil rights violation by telling them to move.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to leave every night with $40,000 invested into something that I have to worry about who's kicked my door in tonight.
Right. Yeah.
You know, getting into a shop, now I got to get security systems. I gotta get bars put up. If I wanted to have bars on my barber shop, I'll go to prison and do it there, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, I think like this city especially prioritizes a lot of people over business owners.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When we had Sixville and I was on KRQE News, I did that whole free back to school haircut marathon for a weekend. And Mayor Keller at the time was city councils when he was running for mayor. And he showed up at the shop and, you know, I had my picture taken with him. I don't care about that. But, you know, part of his politicking was, I want to, you know, if I become mayor, I want people like this gentleman to come from other states and bring businesses here and bring culture here with them. And I've seen, you know, for years now, so many shops fall under, so many shops just robbed dude, there's that shop on a Trisco and Central. They had to end up putting plexiglass in because their windows were getting broken every other weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, dude, I think because of the politics and just the not caring about the business owner, the new school of people in the industry. Again, dude, I'm turning into that old guy that's spraying kids and telling them to get the hell off my lawn, you know? I don't get, you know, like, think of it, dude, like, in our era, we could still sit down and have a conversation with our fathers.
Yeah.
We still came from an era that we served others. You know, if we saw a car accident, I carry tourniquets and a full trauma pack at all times. I have CPAC certification and all that.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I saw someone in a car accident, dude, I'm getting out and helping. I'm not like this new school that's going to get out with my phone for views.
Dude, yeah.
You know, we served our country. We served our families, our neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, like with barbering, like I was bringing something to the community that was providing culture. It was providing friendship. It was providing guidance. I mean, again, people would ask me things that they wouldn't ask their significant others. And if you remember at my shop, dude, I was traditional. There was no women allowed at my shops at all. Mm-hmm. I would not let women work for me. I had to really figure out that slope of equality rights and stuff, you know. So luckily I was able to weasel out by just using, like, I need you to have 10,000 haircuts and references to come work, call me in 5 years. But, you know, to me it was, I wanted a place for men to be able to come and be men. Mm-hmm. You know, the minute a female comes into that barber shop, including kids, man, I didn't care. You can go outside and get a coffee. I'll pay for your coffee and I will physically walk your son back to you. But the minute you come into my shop, you just change the dynamics. You know, I got barbers sitting here. I got, you know, Rico Suave over there, you know, trying to duck lip you. I got the Jim Carrey comedian, you know, and it's like, dude, we were just talking about, you know, freaking how awesome Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco were back in the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I think that with what I did, I can't do anymore. Mm-hmm. There's just too much of, like, politics involved and, you know, too much of this kind of, you gotta watch what you say. And dude, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I have FU tattooed on my face and FTW on my forehead. Like, I'm not that guy. I'm not gonna say something and worry if I hurt your feelings. If your feelings are gonna get hurt, then go somewhere else. Don't come here.
Yeah.
But, you know, we had 5-star rating with the butcher shop, and that's because of how selective I was with people working for me. You know, it's just kind of like, dude, if you screw up, it's not you, it's me. You know, they're not coming after you online. They're coming after my name. And there's just too much inconsistency. There's too much drug use now. There's too much just partying and rock star life. And it's like, come on, dude. We touch men for a living. There's nothing glamorous about that.
Yeah.
I don't get grossed out when I order food and there's hair in my food because I inhale hair all day long as a barber. Like, it doesn't gross me out, right?
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times a dude's elbow has brushed me in an inappropriate area. Like, dude, I'm not trying to put that on Instagram. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, it's just, God, it's hard. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It really is, because I really think up until 10 years ago, you can make a lifetime career as a barber.
Yeah.
I just feel like now it's a very selective group, oversaturated. It's too accessible. There's not enough guidelines to weed out through the good and the bad. And people are just thrown out there. There's no real good training out here in this state. To be a good barber, you have to be a prodigy. If you're going to maintain, and it goes back to the trends. They're going to change, and trends now are just 2 haircuts. That's it.
Yeah. Especially down here, man.
Yeah.
All right. So we've reached the last topic before we get into our rapid fire questions, man. So the last topic is values, family, and America. How do you balance strong personal values with raising kids in an ever-changing world?
Dude, I'm old school. We don't let the kids have any technology. There is no vegging out at my house. I will lose my shit over that. Excuse my language. Theo especially, dude, he's 2. He's going to be 3 on St. Patrick's Day. That kid plays by himself. He hums. You know, he's significantly younger than all the other kids. We got a 12-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 20-year-old. So, you know, I'm real big on, we have to sit down together as a family. We have to talk. One of the things I'm dealing with is I'm trying to work on is, again, dude, I'm not down with this younger generation. I just think they're idiots. And my son, I love him so much, but he's an idiot sometimes. And I'm a little hard on him, and I don't try to be. It's just, dude, I've done so much crap, really bad things in my life. I just don't want to see him making mistakes. And he's such an amazing kid. Malachi, man, is such an amazing kid.
Yeah.
Sebi, dude, oh my God, bro, you've seen Sebi. That dude literally will take a freaking Lego set that's meant for an adult and have it done in 10 minutes. You know, it's just, his brain works on another level. So, you know, to me, I'm about traditional values. Like, dude, we're on the right side of politics in my home. My wife is as well. We don't engage with people that aren't. You know, they're entitled to their beliefs, but at the same time, dude, like, they just had a walkout the other day for this whole ICE thing, and I let the kids know, I'll knock you out if you're a part of that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, as far as that stuff goes, you know, it goes back to my upbringing. My grandfather was from Italy. I wanted him to teach me to speak Italian so I could hit on chicks when I was younger. I'll never forget, man. You know, this guy fought for World War II in order to get citizenship. And he said, man, I came to America to be an American. If you want to speak Italian, go to Italy.
Okay.
And I was like, damn, dude, you know?
Yeah.
So that was the same thing. I brought that up with my family, you know, is weekends, dude, we're out. We're hiking. We're taking the Pro 4X off-roading. I didn't buy that to be an asphalt fairy. I'm going to wreck it and still owe 40 grand on it. I don't care. But yeah, you know, I want my kids to be kids.
Yeah.
And so Theo, you know, you got to understand, dude. So Malachi and Sebi, I raise them as if they're my own. I've been in their lives since they were both very young, but they're my stepchildren. So, you know, I can't knock him out, dude. Like I tell him all the time, I believe in child abuse, not discipline, you know. I used to have to pick out which belt I was going to get hit with. I remember getting the little small belt, the dress belt. My old man was looking at me like, go pick another one. Like, that one's going to hurt. So I came back with the weight belt instead. Yeah. But yeah, you know, for me, it's being decent. Being a decent person for the kids, you know what I mean? My wife and I, we share a semi-traditional family. You know, she takes care of the house. She takes care of the kids. I put her in an opportunity where, you know, she's accessible for everybody at all times. But it's not, I come home and, where's my dinner, woman? And,
Yeah.
take my boots off, you know. She's from a traditional Mexican family, you know. She was born here in America, but she was raised in Durango, Mexico. Her dad decided he didn't want to be in America and went back, you know.
Yeah.
So she's got her values and stuff, and like I said, dude, I mean, you're never winning those fights. So, you know, she'll still make my dinner sometimes, but won't say a word to me. And I'll just get that look every so often.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for a chocolate to get thrown at me or something.
That's actually a good transition to your last question, bro, before we get into the rapid fire. So how has marriage grounded you after everything you've lived through?
Shit, hardest thing I ever done. I didn't get married till I was 36.
Yeah.
So it's learning how to like compromise, which I'm not good at. You know, I'm kind of type A personality. And my wife, she's been through some shit in her life, and I've been through a lot more. So we both have that together, you know. But dude, with her, bro, it's just, I never met a woman like that like took my breath away, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And dude, the first year we were together was really bad. I mean, the honeymoon lasted 2 weeks, and I was just wild out, bro, just wild out. And she stood by me, man. She saved me from myself, you know. She saw more potential in me than the insecurities I was carrying was allowing me to see.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's balance, dude. It's really, I think everything in life, especially maintaining a relationship, is about balance.
Yeah.
It's about having the same views and ideology. Luckily, dude, she loves America as much as I do. You know, I'm willing to die for this country, and every man in my family, with the exception of me, you know, has served this country with dignity and honor. And instead, you know, I kind of felt like, all right, I'm gonna get my union card and be in good standing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's yeah, bro. I don't want to like be on camera and get choky or act like a wuss, but dude, I hate her so much sometimes in the sense that like she's right. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she knows. She calls things out for what they are, and sometimes I don't want to hear it, you know. Sometimes it's kind of like, just don't say it, you know. But I mean, everything I do in my life, and that's one thing, is accountability. I've made it a point of, you know, I've never put myself in a position especially since getting sober, that I'm ever going to be questioned. And she knows where I'm at. I mean, dude, I quit drinking, and my circle of friends are so small. I don't allow a lot of people into my circle. You know, I'm your best friend when you're paying me, and if I see you in the street, so I'm going to go say hello and show respect, but I'm not letting people know it's my birthday or calling them, you know, wishing them a Merry Christmas, things like that.
Yeah.
No, so to me, it's just kind of like, you have to, I think, to make a marriage last, you have to be friends more than you are lovers.
Yeah.
You know, intimacy, it's hard, man, when you're 42 with a 2-year-old, you know, and I'm working 60, 70-hour weeks and getting up at 3, still trying to find time to skateboard, coming home, and then, you know, trying to have alone time together. And I'm like, dude, I gotta get up in 3 hours.
Yeah.
So that, you know, that's not my life, but those are things that have come into the equation. And it's just, you have to kind of, as the man, like, take control, man. You know, you just gotta kind of buck up, you know, put the pain from today aside and be able to show your wife the attention she needs.
Right.
But at the same time, they have to show us the respect that we deserve. Mm-hmm. You know, it's you shouldn't have to remind somebody that they need to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they don't need to go out of their way. You know, it's that mutual thing. And I think my wife and I, man, we can look at each other and know exactly what we're thinking. You know, we have contingencies for every possible situation. You know what I mean? So, yeah, dude, it's marriage, bro. Hardest thing I've ever done, but the most fulfilling and gratifying thing that I've done. And
yeah.
You know, I always said I'm never going to get married unless it's really the one that I'm going to get married to. And like I said, dude, the first year I was a scumbag. and still, doing stupid stuff, and violence was still out there, in my personal life. And, again, dude, she should have bailed. I mean, either there's something mentally wrong with her that I just haven't seen after all these years, but nah, she stayed tight with me. And like I said, that's when it came down to, it wasn't an ultimatum. She was just like, I don't even know if I'm going to be with you, but you need to go to rehab. Like, you're out of control. Mm-hmm. And just, if there was even 1% chance that me getting sober was going to make her see the worthiness of me, then that was the 1% worth fighting for. And that's how it's always been, dude, is nobody's perfect. We fight like crazy from the outside in. Sometimes it might look like we hate each other because we're both type A.
Yeah.
Both like passionate about what our beliefs and what we're into. But at the end of the day, dude, you don't freaking stay with each other for the shit. You stay and fight for those times that make you smile. And
yeah,
if not having that smile anymore is worth it, then bounce. But dude, I can't see a smile. Like I've said, dude, if we were, God forbid, not to work out, that's it, I'm done. I'm gonna be that dude, that middle-aged guy with an RV, a boat that I never used, 3 Harleys that I've never touched, like nothing but toys.
Yeah.
And just, I'll get my son when I get him. And other than that, like, I'm just gonna focus on working and like take addiction that I know best.
Yeah. And
just focus that on work. But that's the thing, is balance, man. I think that's made us like have the longevity that we've had and overcome. Yeah. And I'm glad we've overcame the BS so soon, with everything I was going through.
Yeah.
And especially with the money I was making, and then COVID hit, everything like that, and the money started getting real bad. Went from making $160 an hour to making $160 a day.
Yeah.
Significant.
Yeah.
Significant. I lost 60% of my money overnight with COVID.
Yeah.
And after that, I didn't bounce back from it. I don't think a lot of people bounced back from that. A lot of people started learning how to cut hair at home, and the 80s came back with bowl cuts. So,
yeah.
But yeah, bro, she rode with me, man. She helped me out. She was there even when she hated me. She was there to pick me up when I got out of jail, and I had to go sleep at the barber shop for a week, and but she didn't turn her back. She didn't betray me, you know what I mean? So yeah, dude, I love her. She's
That's
awesome.
great, man.
She's
That's
tattooed
great
on my face.
That's
man.
Great, dude. Yeah, I love that story, bro. It's just it's amazing to see that, dude, from the years that I've known you, man. It's good to see you where you're at now. So we've reached our rapid fire questions, bro. I like to throw a little fun at the end of the podcast, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good little 8 rapid fire questions here. So first one, clippers or straight razor?
Straight razor, dude. It's an art form. It's an art form.
All right. Skate street or vert?
Street, bro. Vert's whack. I'm still a 90s skater, dude.
Fuck yeah.
Vert's for kooks.
Favorite concert you've worked security for?
Shoot, dude. Drain. Yeah, they came with Kubla Khan.
All right.
Dude, I was in Gideon. Dude, it was insane, bro.
Sweet.
Freaking insane.
Coffee or energy drinks?
Coffee.
Okay.
And then energy drinks.
All right. Guns for sport, protection, or both?
Both.
All right. Best life lesson learned the hard way?
God, my whole entire life is a life lesson learned the hard way.
I like it. It sums it all up. One word to describe sobriety?
Awesome.
All right. And the last one, bro. What advice would you give to your younger self right now?
Nothing, dude. I wouldn't change a damn thing I've ever done in my life. The violence, the chaos, the drugs, the alcohol, dude. It made me who I am today.
Yeah.
And one different thing would have changed me ever coming to New Mexico, and I would have never met my wife.
Okay.
So, yeah, dude, I would tell my younger self, like, dude, just when you fight, like, don't hit everybody in the head, because then your hand sounds like that, But yeah, dude, there's nothing I would have changed. There's nothing I would have told myself. I think, yeah, nothing, dude. Nothing.
Okay.
I have no regrets.
That's crazy, bro. I like it. Yeah, I tell everybody the same thing too. Like, if there was anything I would change in my life, nothing.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, dude, you wouldn't be the man you are today if you didn't go through that shit.
Well, you know what, dude? Everybody has regrets, but I tell my sons all the time is, dude, if you're so focused on the past, you're never gonna see far enough into the future, and you sure as hell are not gonna appreciate right now.
Yeah,
we all make mistakes, but that's the difference between a man and a boy, dude. Is like we learn as men and we try to do better.
Yeah.
And you're probably gonna screw up again, especially me, dude. I'm just I'm definitely, if I was who I am right now 20 years ago, my trajectory in my life would have been way different, maybe not as fun.
Yeah.
So it's just like, dude, you have to learn these things, and you have to just let it go.
Yeah.
I lost a relationship with my daughters because of the craziness I was going through, and I think that's the only regret I have, is just making them have to, like, you remember, dude, I raised them alone.
Yeah.
Like, their mom wasn't in their lives, it was me. So, dude, they had to see a lot of stuff, not just the drugs and all that, the alcohol, but the violence and stuff. So
yeah,
I think if that would probably I'd be like, the only thing I would tell myself is just like, dude, keep that in closed doors. Don't think Christmas Eve, just because you drank a bottle, you could try to keep everyone up at midnight because you have no one to party with, and not like party like, your daughters have a drink.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, dude, you have Slayer on loud as hell at 2 a.m, like, so yeah, dude, I think the best thing with the regrets is change.
Yeah.
Feel's never gonna hear anything about my past unless it's a life-changing reason.
Yeah.
If he's gonna start going down that path, then it's like, all right, dude, sit down. Like,
yeah,
let me tell you how your papa was. But yeah, dude, like, Theo's never ever gonna know that his dad had done all this stuff. He's just gonna see the blue collar man, and that's the thing, man. I heard a quote last night. It was awesome. I was even gonna say it on this. If you wake up and the pain in your back makes you holler, you already know what color is your collar.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, dude. So, that's the thing, man. The kids, bro, I'm not a proponent of college. They have 2 options to stay in my house. They go to the military, or they get an apprenticeship in the union. That's it. My name's on local 611 on the books, IDW.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, keep your name in good standing. Go learn a trade and do something for America, for infrastructure, for building. I already told them, don't be barbers.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're not going to make any money anymore. I think I got into it in the golden age.
Yeah.
But, yeah, dude, this freaking military is the one and only thing I wish I did different. I tried, but, I was a knucklehead, dude.
Yeah. No,
they looked at me and just shook their head and were like, leave. But yeah, dude, no regrets, bro.
Good, bro. Okay. So that was my last question, bro. Exciting life, exciting story. Again, that's why I wanted to have you here, man. You've been a close buddy of mine since you moved here, actually, since we first met, man. And you kind of went over that. So actually, I don't think we kind of dive deep into how we met, man. So you want me to tell the story?
I still tell it, dude. No, I accidentally touched your wife's boob, bro. No, dude, so your son, God, how old was he? Like, just a couple years old.
Yeah,
right?
he's just 2, man.
Yeah, bro, and he was sitting on your wife's lap and accidentally, like, full-blown groped her. And keep in mind, this dude's, like, full-blown NRA'd out. Like, I'm from the West Coast, dude. You can't have a gun in your car, your house, anywhere, So it's like, dude, we carried guns just because we were knuckleheads, but...
Yeah.
So I'm looking at you like, what the hell is this redneck, dude? I just remember looking at you with the biggest eyes, and I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry.
No, man, that was cool, though. It was like the whole, getting to know you and then just following you through your journey, man. And
yeah, dude, you came with me at a barber school. I was only there to get the hours I needed to turn my license over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been with me. God, every barber shop I worked for, and then the ones I owned.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, dude. It has been, bro. It's over a decade already,
I didn't
bro.
have a gray beard back then.
I'll be there soon, bro. It's all right. I'll follow right behind you. No, yeah, bro. So, yeah. Do you have anything that you want to mention or that we didn't talk about throughout the podcast?
Shoot, man. I think I talk too much, bro. I said, dude, I just got off that 5-day fast. So
Yeah. No, it's all good, bro. That's
more energy than I've ever had.
Yeah.
Such a hard, like, exhausting experience to go this last 5 days without eating. And then
yeah, dude. I did 3 days, so props to you. And like I said, you do it more often than a lot of people I know. So
healthy, bro.
Yeah, bro. That's good. No, you're doing good things, man. Cool. Any shout outs or plugs that you want to throw out there?
Shit, man, just wife and kids, you know what I'm saying? The homies in California.
Okay.
Evan and the whole Red Hawk crew, we still keep in touch. But nah, man, just thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, bro. It's my
trying
pleasure.
to think, like, who could I shoot out? But man, nobody knows me. I don't know nobody.
Yeah. Okay, cool, man. No
I want
worries.
to shout out the BCSO department.
Okay.
They all know me on a first name basis.
All right, man. And last but not least, I like to let all my guests throw, we talked about it, the social media thing. So how would people get in touch with you or follow you, or, you know, if they want to cut or something like that?
Shoot, throw the 88 up in the air, bro. I don't have none of it. I got rid of social media in 2010. I said my whole career has been putting quality haircuts on the streets. I think that Instagram for one of the barber shops is still active, but I haven't been on it in like 5 years. I think I checked on it for something. But yeah, my buddy from Mexico was coming out, so I was trying to get his information off it. But I mean, I have an email, like skate number 4 eva13@gmail.com. You know, to be honest, dude, networking, right? Anybody in the trades, you know, finding work right now. I think a lot of these people, and I am going to touch on this because I'm getting tired of it. You see all these people protesting in Minnesota, dude, and I can put cigarettes out on my hands. Dude, they don't know what blue collar work is. And I've got 107 applications out, and I can't get a damn job in what I want to do because I don't speak Spanish. And I refuse to learn to speak Spanish because I'm an American. I was born in America. On top of that, I'm not going to work for $15 an hour doing a dry utilities freaking job. You know what I mean? So anybody in the trades for pipeline or heavy equipment operators that are actually willing to pay experience for what it's worth, please reach out to me, because I'm having to get into civil engineering because, you know, a lot of that stuff is based on English and everything, you know.
Yeah.
I heard a story about that. There was a guy that drywalled for years. Got sick and tired of not making no money, you know, because the dudes that were working with them were getting paid under the table because they were here illegally. He became an electrician because they made the manual for electricians in English only.
Oh shit. Okay.
That's why, like, electricians are kind of like, people laugh at them in like the trades, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that's just like the only plug I really have to throw out to anybody is, you know, you want a haircut? Email me.
All right, bro.
I cut hair every night and every weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, when I got sober, dude, I went back into trade work and freaking love it, dude. I love just being filthy, dirty, coming home hurt and know that I accomplished something today. And it's the same thing as cutting hair, dude. I'm just using my hands to make a buck, you know?
Yeah.
So,
like you said, traditional, man. Traditional values, bro.
Yeah, it really is, dude. It really is. You don't know who you are until you push yourself to find out.
Right.
You know, I don't need somebody telling me who I am. I want to search for it. And again, I want to do it better every single time, but still do it my way. I'm still gonna put 2 middle fingers up to everyone in the world, and I'm not gonna apologize for a damn thing in my existence. So yeah, traditional, bro. We're losing it.
Gotcha, bro. I'm 100% right behind you, man. Well, I'll get with you after the episode, and then so when I edit the video and stuff and put it up and post it, I'll just have you shoot me whatever your email and stuff or whatever you want me to put on the description of the video so they can reach out to you one way or another.
Yeah,
so.
for sure, man. Hope you don't mind losing your following for this one, bro.
Nah, man, you're a great guest, bro. And again, it's an honor to have you.
Thank you.
I think people are gonna enjoy this fucking episode, bro. Honestly, so
hope so, dude. I'm a pretty noticeable person, so
yeah.
Say what's up, but don't come up behind me doing it.
Yeah. Well, guys, I do hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you got some education out of it. And until next time, we'll see you on Small Talk on the Mats. Peace out, y'all.
Later.